All right. All right, how you doing? This is Black Krishna, or BK, from Manpower.com, where I'm promoting polite patriotism to help nice ladies and gents teach kids to look, talk, and feel great offline about fun or serious stuff. And we've been having some issues for a few years, and I've got a lot of that documented at Manpower.com. People have trouble discussing it. They get embarrassed and lie and argue, or get upset and scared and so on if they can't bother you. Worked up, bother you, force you to put up with them. And then you can't do much because they have to bother them back. What else can you do? Then when they bother each other, can't do much, wander around, bother strangers like zombies, making more. Or like pretend sketchy girlfriends, pretend lying, bitchy, sketchy girlfriends. Don't make any sense. If it's yours, if it's your own girlfriend, then obviously, say what's wrong, or say calm down, stop making everyone uncomfortable in public. If not, it doesn't make any sense. And this is partly because men, discouraged from talking, want people to look at it instead, but they have nothing to look at, no one to look, so they force each other to look. It's kind of uncomfortable. Someone worked up, force you to look at them. And so they bother each other. They don't want to look at each other. They sexually harass each other. They jealously harass girls, kids, anybody acting normal near them. They get worked up and try and force you to see them spaz out while you're trying to be nice, or mind your business, or look at, talk to each other, be smart, friendly, masculine, feminine. And that's what makes everyone into zombies. So this video is called Men, Coronavirus-Resistant Zombies, and the Future of Life Offline. Men, Coronavirus-Resistant Zombies, and the Future of Life Offline. And just before this, I was at Yonge College, College Park in downtown Toronto. And I was there from about, say, 4:30 to 5:15, or 4:15 to 5:15, about an hour or so. And I was just sitting there, chilling, with my open 17-inch laptop, my webcam, Logitech 922 webcam, sitting there, and I was reading my phone and listening to a podcast and laughing and so on. And behind me, there was a whole bunch of people coming up to bother me while I was doing nothing. I was just minding my business, reading my phone, toque down, not sunglasses at the time, reading my phone, headphones on, and so many pretend sketchy girlfriend zombies worked up, bother you, and run away. And so even in this pandemic, here on Monday, March 16th, 2020, you still have coronavirus-resistant zombies who run close to people, try and force you to put up with them, make you both uncomfortable, and then run away, even in this pandemic. And I'm going to show you some of this going on here. So what I'll do now is I'll take you to a little tour. And I've got my manforwars.com sign. The main thing is, it's gotten worse and worse, but the goal is to keep your self-respect. Don't lose yours and take anybody else's. Don't be a mess for yourself or other people to put up with. And the opposite is that, somebody bothers you for no reason, doesn't respect you. You bother them for no reason, you don't respect them. And then once you can't respect and pay attention to each other and communicate well, then you wander around, bother strangers. So that's the other option. But what I'll do now is I'll take you for a tour of sort of some of the roots of this, that might be anyway. And so we're here at 40 College Street. This is just west of Yonge College in downtown Toronto, Canada. And this is Toronto Police Services headquarters. And it's a fairly quiet day, Monday, March 16th, 2020 here, with all this sort of coronavirus, COVID-19 pandemic scares. That's Toronto Police Services headquarters. And this is an example of what might be going on. This is a hermaphrodite pyramid and statue. There's the pyramid. There's the Hermaphro-Cop finishing the pyramid. There's the top, 2 bricks left, a couple of bricks over there. And this is there's the trowel, very tiny hands, slim wrists, slim arms, masculine, feminine-ish features, longish hair, past the collar, sideburns, slim shoulders, slim torso, and thick, bubbly legs and butt. So it's sort of a half-man, half-woman creature. It could be a chick, slim, not like a Batman statue or a Superman statue. If you're going to make a statue of a cop finishing a pyramid of cool stuff, you'd probably make it more like archetypal, broad shoulders, narrow waist, and so on. But this is sort of a half-man, half-woman statue, and that seems to be what's being created to make sure we can't respect each other and communicate well and are easier to control, possibly as part of this plan. So again, Men, Coronavirus-Resistant Zombies, and Life Offline. You can take a look. Now you can see there's all these people here in downtown Toronto that if they were nice, polite Canadians, world famous for it, could respect each other, communicate well, share different ideas about what might be going on, right? Not just panic each other into being uncomfortable and going along with anything. And so what I'll do now is here at 5:45 p.m. Monday, March 16th, we'll walk up the street to Yonge College, and I'll show you the kind of premise behind men, coronavirus-resistant zombies, and the future of life offline. Because the future of life offline could suck with, even if everything was perfect, people making each other uncomfortable and then bothering strangers. But especially if things get worse than perfect, and then people have trouble doing anything else. So we're walking here on the north side of College. We're walking east towards Yonge. And you see, that's why I say men, coronavirus-resistant zombies, and the future of life offline. Because it's like a pretend sketchy wife or girlfriend who's worked up, bothering you, forcing you to put up with them, forcing you to see them look ugly, making you both uncomfortable. And then you can't really pay attention. It's kind of gross if they just bust your balls and make you put up with them, so you have to bother them back. And then when you bother them back, then you have to run away from each other and bother other people, bother strangers, because they make it hard to respect each other, look at and talk to each other. So that's what I mean about the sort of men, coronavirus-resistant zombies, and the future of life offline. They don't care, even if there's a global pandemic going on, about worked up, bothering you, making it hard to be nice, look at, talk to each other, and then running around shaking near strangers. I say, again, if it's your wife or girlfriend worked up, not explaining why, then you should explain. You should figure out what's wrong, get them to stop doing that in public. But again, this is men, coronavirus-resistant zombies, and the future of life offline, right?
Mind?
So they don't care. Well, it's not my wife. Not my wife or girlfriend. Not my wife. Just does that near people until you don't like it, then wanders around doing it near strangers. It's not personal. Don't blame me. No, it's okay. Nothing to be embarrassed about or upset about. It's nothing. It's okay. What are you supposed to do? Bother them back? No, it's nothing. They like being ignored, probably want to stop. You like ignoring it. A little self-respect, mind your business. And everyone around can relax and mind their business, or know it's safe to be nice to each other, less bothering people, better and more, right? So here we are at Yonge College, and so here it is. That's what I'm saying. Men, coronavirus-resistant zombies, and the future of life offline. Because even if everything's perfect, it kind of sucks when people get worked up, bother you for no reason, force you to put up with them, make you both uncomfortable. It's kind of gross. You can't really pay attention, so you have to bother them back, force them to put up with you, make them uncomfortable. And then when you can't pay attention to each other anymore, respect each other, wander around shaking near strangers trying to bother them, right? Now, men can help people stop. Otherwise, you can't really say anything. People get embarrassed and lie and argue and get upset and scared. You can't really, so you can't really do much, right? You just have to sort of work, hey, put up with me, how's it going? Oh, yeah, you put up with me, yeah, gross. So you have to, okay, let's spin around in circles, look for somebody else to bother, right? So, and they don't care if there's a global pandemic. They will still make everyone uncomfortable and run around shaking near strangers and running away, even if there's a chance they could get the coronavirus from some random stranger they're running up to and shaking near. Right? No, I'm not saying I have. I don't know symptoms or like that. I'm saying just generally it's bad practice, right? So this is men, coronavirus-resistant zombies, and the future of life offline. Because men can help people stop. Otherwise, you can't say anything. People get embarrassed and scared and upset, lie and argue and keep bothering you. So you can't really say anything. You just have to sort of act sketchy, make each other uncomfortable, and then look for other people to bother. So, but as you can see, like I said, this is about, men, coronavirus-resistant zombies, and the future of life offline. Because even if everything's perfect in Canada, everything's going great, it still sucks to worked up, bother people for no reason, like a pretend rude, sketchy girlfriend, or wife or whatever, just make you uncomfortable. It doesn't make any sense. You have to bother them back. It's not, but then when there's something that goes on, it's even worse. For example, there's a global pandemic, and people still can't stop getting worked up and bothering each other, making it hard to do anything, and then running around shaking near strangers, even though there's a chance they could get a possibly deadly illness or be a carrier of that deadly illness for others, right? They still can't do that. So that's why I'm saying men, coronavirus-resistant zombies, and the future of life offline is really key, right? So, and men can help people stop them. They'll have other men to respect and be able to communicate well and so on. And women and kids will have somebody to respect, and they won't get worked up, bother each other, and make people uncomfortable, and wander around shaking near strangers, trying to force them to put up with them, right? They wouldn't have time for that, right? But that's what happens. So as you can see, it doesn't matter. Even if there's a global pandemic on, coronavirus-resistant zombies who get worked up, force everyone to put up with them until you have to do it back, or maybe somebody did that to them and turned them into a zombie, whatever. They still want to get worked up and bother each other, make it hard to be nice, look at, talk to each other, and then wander around shaking near strangers, even in a pandemic. Even if there's a chance that they could get a pandemic, they still want to get worked up, spaz out, force you to see them spaz out, wipe their mouth, wipe their nose, play with their hair. It doesn't really matter, right? They still want to do that. Even if they're just running near hundreds of people a day during a global pandemic when we're supposed to have social distancing, keep your space, try and stay inside, don't go to work if you don't have to. Even then, as I say, with men, coronavirus-resistant zombies, and the future of life offline, they still, when that becomes all they can do, it becomes hard to get them to do anything else. It's like, hey, why don't you just hang out with people you know and respect each other and get along and communicate well? Nah, I can't. I get worked up, bother them, make them uncomfortable. So they have to get worked up, bother me, make me uncomfortable. Then when we can't pay attention to each other, we have to wander around trying to force strangers to put up with us, right? So that's the problem. A lot of people don't like it. People don't like it. Sometimes people will try and be nice once they know you don't want to bother people, you don't want to pay attention, you want to bother people. Then they can sneak around and be nice. They can hide away from people where you can't be nice to them. You can't even be nice near them. Because if you're nice to them, they get worked up and bother you. Even if you're nice near them, they get worked up and try and force you to put up with them, spaz out. So they make everyone eventually put up with and act like that until, again, it doesn't matter what's going on. They still want to run near strangers shaking, trying to force you to put up with them, even if there's a global pandemic here today, Monday, March 16th, 2020 in downtown Toronto. I'm sure a lot of people believe there's a global pandemic, there's a real threat, whatever, there's different theories on that, but whatever, people generally, but even in the age of social distancing, the mass zombiosis is so bad that people still have to get worked up and bother people they know until people they know bother them back. And then when they can't respect each other, run around shaking near strangers, trying to force strangers to put up with them. Even if it's a global pandemic, they'll still run close to hundreds of strangers a day, trying to force people to put up with them, right? Pretend sketchy girlfriend zombie, just worked up, bother you, force you to put up with them, right? So that's what I'm saying about men, coronavirus-resistant zombies, and the future of life offline, is that this is bad enough when everything's fine, and this is even worse when there's a major crisis. But, what are you supposed to do, right? How are these people supposed to talk to each other about what's going on if they don't respect each other and wander around shaking near strangers and running away, right? Formerly world-famous, nice, polite Canadians, right? And again, if it's your wife or girlfriend who's worked up, not explaining why, then you figure that out, right? You figure that out. You figure that out. You say, hey, what's wrong? Or, hey, come on, calm down. Let's talk about it later. We're in public. Don't make everyone here uncomfortable. But if not, they don't make any sense. You're worked out, busting your balls, making you both feel uncomfortable. You can't say or do anything. You're just impotent while they're a mess. Hey, mess near you. Put up with me. Hey, can't say or do anything, grown-ass man. Just bust your balls. Make us both uncomfortable. It's really bad for you. It's really bad for the person doing it, worked up, bothering people. It's really bad for the person impotently putting up with it, right? So you can't really do that, or maybe you do that, and you're all messed up, and then you have to bother them back, and then when you can't do anything, you have to go bother strangers, right? So that's the issue. Right? And as you can see, it doesn't matter if there's a pandemic. Coronavirus-resistant zombies still want to run around shaking near strangers and running away. They'll run right up to you. They know it's hard to look at them. It's hard to be near them. You don't make any sense. It's going to be unpleasant. You're not going to like it. They have to force you to put up with it. But they don't care. They'll do that even in a global pandemic. They'll run near hundreds of strangers a day, shaking and trying to force you to put up with them. Even if there's a coronavirus, COVID-19 global pandemic, that's the sort of mass zombiosis that we see. right? And men can help people stop, right? So it's no big deal. Manforce.com, 100% proof, no big deal. People probably want it. Otherwise, you can't say anything. People get embarrassed and lie and argue or get upset and scared or just keep trying to bother you or think, oh, you don't like it? I'll bother you till you don't like me. And take it even more of a challenge. So you can't really do much, you know? So that's what's happening when it comes to men, corona-resistant zombies, or coronavirus-resistant zombies, and life offline. Is that men can help people stop, otherwise they'll do this when times are good, make it impossible to be nice, look at, talk to each other, and then when times are tough, still obsessed with it. Even when there's a virus pandemic, they will still run near complete strangers and get worked up and bother you and force you to put up with them, force you to see them look ugly, make you both uncomfortable, because that becomes the only thing they care about doing when it's hard to be nice and look at and talk to each other, right? How do you even do that anymore? When as soon as you get near someone, you get worked up and force them to put up with you, they have to get worked up and force you to put up with them, and then when you can't pay attention to each other anymore, you run around shaking near strangers, trying to bother them and force them to put up with you, right? That's what I mean by men, coronavirus-resistant zombies, and the future of life offline. Because the future of life offline could suck. Now, if there's a real virus and there's a good response, great. Let's get rid of it. Let's get back to normal. If there's a real virus and there's a bad government response, this doesn't make it easier for us to deal with, right? Let's just say, you know, the regular flu kills 35,000 people a year, right? This flu's killed like 3,000 people in total, right? And we're all freaking out over it, right? So it might be overblown in part for money, for control, for power, right? There might be something real there, but people might be taking advantage of this to mess with us. But how are you supposed to deal with that when you've got coronavirus-resistant zombies that just want to get worked up and bother everyone and make everyone bother them back until it's hard to do anything, and you wander around shaking near strangers, even if there's a chance you might get infected with the coronavirus, right? Once you go full zombie, it's hard to do anything else, right? Once you go full zombie, it's hard to do anything else. Once you're like, hey, I always make everyone put up with me. How's it going? Force you to see me touch my hair, wipe my face, shove something in my mouth, look at my body, look at my butt, look at me get worked up, right? Once you're always doing that, and then you make people do that back to you, and then you can't respect each other and communicate well, and then you wander around shaking near strangers, how, even during a global pandemic, are you going to tell coronavirus-resistant zombies to stop wandering around shaking near strangers when they made everything else too hard to do? Right? Doesn't matter if they could get infected by hundreds of people a day. Because they bother people they know, and then people have to bother them back, and they make each other uncomfortable, then they wander around shaking near strangers. Used to be a handful of mentally ill homeless people in Toronto, a lot of polite peer pressure, you know, among most Canadians to respect each other, communicate well, don't worry about people just for no reason near each other. And so now a lot of that has changed. And that's why I say men, coronavirus-resistant zombies, and the future of life offline. Because men can help people stop, otherwise you can't say anything. People get embarrassed and lie and argue or get upset and scared and just keep trying to bother you. And so you can't really do much, right? So it doesn't matter if there's a global pandemic and they could die or they could help people die, you know, from the coronavirus or whatever it is. They will run around shaking near strangers, even though they know people don't like it. It's unpleasant. You're not going to like it. You're not going to like what they're doing. You're not going to respect each other. You're not going to communicate well. You have to try and force people to put up with it. You have to run away. Even though they know that still becomes the mass zombie. It's all they can do, right? So here around 6 p.m., Monday, March 16th, there is a global pandemic going on, right? You know, Canada just shut the borders to other countries. Everyone's supposed to stay inside, and unless you absolutely have to go out. And what are, you know, as I said, men, coronavirus-resistant zombies, and the future of life offline. What are people doing in the global pandemic if they are so zombified that they can't help it? They are still running around shaking near strangers and running away. That's what they're doing. They're running around. They're like, oh, you're not going to like this. You're going to hate it. I have to force you to put up with it. It's going to be awful, but I got to do it anyway. And they're just running around doing that anyway, right? So. Oh, they don't care. Anybody who's not a zombie, they try to turn you into a zombie. They're wandering around all day looking for nice, smart, happy, busy, friendly people, minding their business, looking, talking, feeling good, straight up guys. Ah, first you see me look ugly. Nice girls. Hey, how are you? They're looking all day for it. So that's what I'm saying about men, coronavirus-resistant zombies, and the future of life offline, right? That's what I'm saying, right? Because this is how bad the zombiosis is. You might be like, whatever, so what? Don't say anything. You know, my dude likes to act like a pretend ugly girlfriend and bother people, and I have to do it back, and then we have to run around, bother strangers. We can't look at each other anymore. So what, right? I'm just saying this is how bad it is. Even during a global pandemic, Monday, March 16, 2020, downtown Toronto, Canada, here at Yonge College, they still want to run around shaking near strangers, trying to force you to put up with them and running away. Even though they know it's unpleasant, it's hard, it's awful, it's hard to force people to put up with you getting worked up, force you to see them look ugly, you're not going to like it. Still, that's what they'll still do it. Right? Even during the coronavirus, they still want to run around shaking near strangers, trying to get away with bothering them and run away. Right? Even if there's a global pandemic, they still want to run around, run close to you, force you to put up with them, bump into you, rub up against you, trick you into looking at them, get worked up, or look at their body, or look at their butt, and see them spaz out and run away. Like even during the coronavirus pandemic, or Monday, March 16th, yes, it is quieter for sure, but look at the zombiosis, right? That's the problem. The problem is the zombiosis. You know, and it was a lot more people. It's a lot more zombies. It's not like it's the same. And look at the percentage. If it's like 95% of people bothering people till you bother them back, and then running around bothering strangers, then that's like, what the hell's that, right? So, and again, men can help people stop. It's no big deal. I proved that, manpowers.com. Otherwise, you can't bother people about it. They get embarrassed, lie, argue. They feel scared, upset. They get mad at you. You put up with me. I know it's awful. You're not going to want to see it. You have to bother me back until I'm uncomfortable near you. So they run around. They make you say yuck. You've got to force them to see you look ugly, make them say yuck. You have to run away from each other and bother other people. Even during the coronavirus pandemic here on Monday, March 16th, that's the level of zombiosis we're at. You see? That's what I mean by men, coronavirus-resistant zombies, and the future of life online. Black Krishna or BK from manpowers.com. Like, comment, subscribe, share, get in touch with questions, answers to work together, or whatever as you'd like. Financial support. Hope this helps, and I'll talk to you soon. Cheers. And let's get a timestamp on this, just so you know I ain't joshing you. And 6:02 p.m. Monday, March 16th. Yeah, this is going to die in a sec because of the cold and whatnot, but you get the idea. So, let's just cross here. Take a look. You see? Men, coronavirus-resistant zombies, and the future of life offline. Men can help people stop. Otherwise, they make it too uncomfortable to do anything except bother strangers. So no, it's okay. What are you supposed to do? Bother them back? This poor sketchy person's running around shaking near strangers. What are you supposed to do? Bother them back? No, it's nothing. It's okay. They like being ignored, probably want to stop. You feel better, a little self-respect, mind your business, don't be a mess for other people. Everyone around can relax and feel better. It's, less people bothering people, but more. It's not that bad if they can't help it, they can't control themselves. And then people can mind their business or know it's safe to be nice to each other. They don't think it's not safe to be nice to you. It's like, not safe to be nice to you, right? So, but as I said, men, coronavirus-resistant zombies, and the future of life offline. The coronavirus-resistant zombies obsessed with getting worked up, bothering people, forcing you to put up with them until you have to bother them back, and they have to put up with you. And then when you can't pay attention to each other, they run around shaking near strangers. They still want to keep going. Even if there's a global pandemic, Monday, March 16, 2020, here at around 6 p.m., Yonge in College, they're still running around shaking near strangers and running away. That's how dangerous the mass zombiosis is. You see? And again, like I've done for years, it was just anytime some poor sketchy person shaking near strangers, can't explain why, just politely ignore it. You don't get involved. You have them be embarrassed, lie, and argue. You're fine. Self-respect, mind your business, teach kids. They like being ignored, usually want to stop, usually just running around shaking near strangers. Polite Canadians ignore them. They probably want to stop. And everyone around relaxes, feels better. It's like, oh, it's not that bad. You see them shaking near people on the street, shaking on a subway, or if you go to a coffee shop and somebody's spazzing out, shaking, they're a little off. They get worked up, bother people, shake near people, can't explain why. All the polite Canadians just politely ignore them, and everybody feels better. You feel better, they feel better. It's not that bad. Everyone around feels better, right? So, otherwise, it's what happens. People bother you till you bother them, and then when you can't do much with each other, they wander around, bother strangers. And even during the coronavirus pandemic, 6 p.m., Yonge College, downtown Toronto, Canada, they still want to run shaking near strangers, trying to force strangers to put up with them. Even though they know it's awful, even though they know you're not going to like it, even though it's hard to put up with, they've got to try and run fast and bump into you or trick you or force you to put up with them. They don't care, right? That's the problem with the mass zombiosis. And these used to be world-famous, nice, polite Canadians. Teach kids, don't worry about anyone near you. It's getting near me. Oh, how you doing? Let's go. Let's go. It's cold. I got to bar each other. Yeah, let's go. Cool. It's quickly. It's Tri-City. No big deal. Let's go. But now, nope. Right? That's what I'm saying. And as I said, men can help people stop. Otherwise, you can't say anything. People get embarrassed, lie, and argue, and get upset and scared. But they like being ignored and probably want to stop. I've got millions on video. Just over the last few, as it gets worse and worse and it becomes harder for people to do anything else, even when there's a pandemic and you're supposed to stay away from people. You're not supposed to run around shaking near hundreds of strangers a day, trying to barely force them to put up with you because it's really unpleasant. You're not supposed to do that, right? But they'll still do that. Right? That's how bad the zombiosis is. So, and again, if it's your wife or girlfriend who's worked up, shaking, not explaining why, then for God's sakes, you figure it out. You figure it. You say what's wrong, or hey, calm down. Let's talk about it later. There's people around. Don't embarrass us. Make everyone uncomfortable. But if not, it doesn't make any sense. Just some stranger just worked up, busting your balls, making you feel impotent. You can't say or do anything, right? That's why they make, even if it's someone you know, they don't make any sense. Worked up, force you to put up with them, make you uncomfortable. You can't pay attention to it. If you look at it, someone worked up bothering you, you're just impotent. Oh, I can't say anything. Oh, I'm a grown-ass man, but I can't say or do anything. Oh, it's like if your girlfriend's torturing you or your wife is torturing you, right? Just impotent, you're a mess, you can't say or do anything, right? That's why they wander around shaking near strangers, because they make everyone they know uncomfortable, right? But that's the point. That's the coronavirus-resistant zombies, right? So I'm trying to show people, oh, it's not that bad. So what? People get worked up, bother you. You have to get worked up, bother them. Then when you can't pay attention, you have to spin around in a circle, look for other people nearby to bother. No big deal, right? But the problem is, you don't know how bad it's getting. Oh, so what? People get upset, don't say anything. Even during a pandemic, people that are being turned to zombies, formerly world-famous nice plaqués being turned to zombies, they will run around shaking near strangers. Even during a global pandemic that they probably believe is happening, right? There's probably a small fraction that are like, this is bullshit, they're overblowing the thing, it's the man, I'm red pill, a conspiracy, whatever. It's probably a small percentage. But even why would they wander around shaking near strangers and running away, right? So this is probably people who actually believe that there's a real pandemic going on, and they still want to get worked up, run near strangers, force you to put up with them. They bump into you, rub up against you, try and force or trick you into seeing them get worked up, look at you, right? Still, even during a pandemic, they still want to run up to strangers and try and force you to see them look ugly or get worked up, bother you, make you uncomfortable, right? So that's how bad the zombiosis is, right? That's why I want to make it 100% clear. This video is in part, men, coronavirus-resistant zombies, and the future of life offline. Because life offline will suck for a variety of reasons. Even if everything was perfect, there was no pandemic, there was no worry about the response, there was no worry about a possible recession, it would still suck to get worked up, bother people, make them get worked up, bother you. You can't do much, run around trying to bother strangers, shaking near them, trying to force them to put up with you. That would suck.